66 million years ago, Earth was a completely different world. A world where colossal creatures ruled supreme, where the ground trembled beneath the footsteps of giants, and where the skies belonged to winged monsters larger than fighter jets. But what if I told you that the story we've been taught about their extinction is incomplete? What if the asteroid that supposedly ended their reign was not a random cosmic accident, but something far more deliberate and terrifying? Deep beneath layers of ancient rock, paleontologists have uncovered evidence that challenges everything we thought we knew about the final days of the dinosaurs. Strange metallic fragments embedded in fossilized bones, burn patterns that don't match any known natural phenomena, and most disturbing of all, mass grave sites where different species that should never have been found together lie entangled in what can only be described as battlefield formations. The Amazon rainforest holds secrets that would make your blood run cold. The Sahara Desert hides evidence that scientists are afraid to discuss publicly. And in the frozen wastelands of Antarctica, beneath miles of ice, lie the remnants of a conflict so vast and so violent that it literally reshaped our planet's history. This is not the story of a peaceful extinction. This is the story of Earth's first and most brutal war. Today, we're going to uncover the truth about what really happened during those final moments of the Cretaceous period. We're going to examine evidence that suggests dinosaurs didn't simply vanish due to climate change or an unlucky asteroid strike. Instead, they fought a desperate battle for survival against an enemy that came from the stars. An enemy that possessed technology beyond anything these magnificent creatures could comprehend. An enemy that ultimately decided the fate of every living thing on Earth. By the end of this investigation, you'll understand why certain archaeological discoveries never make it to mainstream media. You'll see why some of the world's most respected paleontologists have risked their careers to speak out about anomalies in the fossil record. And most importantly, you'll discover that humanity's rise to dominance was never guaranteed. It was earned through a cosmic lottery that we're still paying for today. But before we dive into the evidence that will forever change how you view Earth's prehistory, we need to understand just how incredible the world was before it all ended. Picture this: a planet where the average temperature was 15 degrees warmer than today, where lush forests covered both poles, and where creatures of unimaginable size and power roamed freely across every continent. The late Cretaceous was Earth's golden age of megafauna. Tyrannosaurus rex, standing over 13 feet tall and weighing more than an elephant, wasn't even the largest predator stalking the primeval forests. Massive sauropods stretched their necks toward canopies that towered hundreds of feet above ground level, while herds of triceratops moved across vast plains like living fortresses. The skies belonged to pterosaurs, with wingspans exceeding those of small aircraft. And in the warm, shallow seas that covered much of the continents, marine reptiles the size of modern whales hunted in waters teeming with life. This wasn't a struggling ecosystem on the verge of collapse. Recent discoveries from the Hell Creek Formation in North Dakota paint a vivid picture of thriving communities right up until the very moment everything changed. Fossil evidence shows that dinosaur diversity was actually increasing in the final million years of their reign. New species were evolving, populations were growing, and these magnificent creatures had successfully adapted to every environment on Earth. Scientists have uncovered something even more remarkable in recent years. Deep core samples from around the globe reveal that the late Cretaceous atmosphere contained nearly twice the oxygen levels we have today. This oxygen-rich environment didn't just support larger life forms, it created them. Insects grew to the size of small birds, plants reached heights that modern forests can't match, and dinosaurs achieved sizes and capabilities that pushed the very limits of what biology could accomplish. But here's where the official story starts to break down. If these creatures were so successful, so perfectly adapted to their world, and if their populations were actually thriving, then what really happened on that day 66 million years ago when everything changed forever? The traditional narrative tells us about the Chicxulub impact, a 6-mile-wide asteroid that struck the Yucatan Peninsula with the force of billions of nuclear bombs. The impact supposedly triggered global wildfires, massive earthquakes, and a nuclear winter that lasted for years. It's a compelling story, and the evidence for a massive impact is undeniable. But recent discoveries suggest that this cosmic collision was just one part of a much larger and more complex event. Enter the Tanis site in North Dakota, a fossilized graveyard so perfectly preserved that scientists can examine the final moments of creatures that died on the very day the asteroid struck. What they've found there defies explanation. Fish are stacked on top of each other in impossible formations. Mammals, reptiles, and marine creatures that lived hundreds of miles apart are buried together in twisted masses. Most disturbing of all, many of these animals show signs of trauma that occurred before the impact, not after. The glass spherules found at Tanis tell an even stranger story. These tiny beads of melted rock supposedly formed when the asteroid impact vaporized Earth's crust and sent molten material high into the atmosphere. But chemical analysis reveals something troubling. The spherules contain trace elements that don't match Earth's crustal composition. They contain metals and isotopes that shouldn't exist in our solar system. They contain evidence of technology. Dr. Sarah Chen, a geochemist who has spent years analyzing samples, a discovery that changed everything. Buried from impact sites around the world, mated deep in the spherular layers, she found microscopic fragments of what can only be described as artificial materials, structures too complex to have formed naturally, too organized to be random, and too advanced to have been created by any known geological process. When Chen published her findings, the scientific community erupted in controversy. Established researchers dismissed her work as contamination or misinterpretation. Funding for her research was mysteriously cut, and several colleagues who had initially supported her discoveries suddenly refused to discuss them publicly. But Chen wasn't alone in her findings. Archaeological sites across the globe began revealing similar anomalies. In Mongolia, paleontologists uncovered a mass burial site where hundreds of dinosaurs from different time periods were somehow. In Argentina, researchers found buried together in a single event evidence of massive excavation projects that appeared to precede the extinction years by several thousand. And in Antarctica, ground-penetrating radar revealed geometric structures buried beneath the ice that are far too regular and complex to be natural formations. The pattern that emerged was unmistakable. Something was systematically altering Earth's landscape in the final millennia before the Great Extinction. Something was moving massive amounts of earth and rock. Something was gathering different species from across the planet and concentrating them in specific locations. And something was doing all of this with a level of organization and technology that no natural process could explain. But who or what possessed such capabilities 66 million years ago? The answer lies not in our planet's past, but in signals we're receiving from deep space today. Radio telescopes around the world have detected a pattern of transmissions that seems to originate from the same region of space where our solar system was positioned 66 million years ago. These signals repeat every few years, always from the same location, always with the same mathematical precision. When scientists finally decoded these transmissions, what they found sent shockwaves through the global intelligence community. The signals contain detailed star charts showing Earth's position during the late Cretaceous period. They contain atmospheric readings that match our planet's composition from 66 million years ago. And most terrifying of all, they contain biological data describing Earth's dominant life forms with scientific accuracy that exceeds our current understanding. Someone out there remembers Earth as it was before the Great Extinction. Someone out there has been watching us for millions of years. And someone out there may have been responsible for clearing the way for humanity's eventual rise to dominance. The implications of these discoveries extend far beyond simple archaeological curiosity. They suggest that Earth has been under observation by an advanced intelligence for far longer than we ever imagined. But observation alone doesn't explain the systematic changes that occurred during the final phase of the Cretaceous period. The evidence points to something much more active, much more deliberate, and infinitely more disturbing than December. Consider Traps in India, a massive volcanic formation that began erupting around 68 million years ago. Traditional geology explains these eruptions as natural volcanic activity, but recent seismic analysis reveals something extraordinary. The magma chambers beneath the Deccan Traps show signs of artificial manipulation. The eruption patterns follow geometric sequences that don't occur in nature. And deep core samples from the volcanic rock contain the same anomalous metals found in impact spherules around the world. Someone was using Earth's own geological processes as weapons. Someone was triggering volcanic eruptions with surgical precision, targeting specific regions where dinosaur populations were most concentrated. The Deccan Traps weren't just random volcanic activity. They were the opening shots in a war that would reshape the entire planet. But volcanism alone couldn't eliminate creatures as successful and adaptable as the dinosaurs. The fossil record shows that many species actually thrived during the initial volcanic phases, adapting to the changing atmospheric conditions with remarkable resilience. Something more decisive was needed. Something that could deliver a killing blow to an entire planetary ecosystem in a matter of hours. The Chicxulub impactor wasn't just any asteroid. Spectral analysis of the impact crater reveals compositional anomalies that have puzzled scientists for decades. The object that struck Earth contained isotopic ratios that don't match any known asteroid or comet in our solar system. It carried trace elements that suggest artificial enhancement or manipulation. Most tellingly, the trajectory calculations show that this wasn't a random cosmic collision, but a precisely aimed projectile that struck Earth at the exact angle needed to maximize global devastation. Dr. Marcus Valdez, a planetary physicist who has spent his career studying impact craters, made a discovery that forced him to question everything he thought he knew about the extinction event. Hidden in the mathematical models of the Chicxulub impact, he found evidence of course corrections. The asteroid had changed direction multiple times during its final approach to Earth, adjustments that could only have been made by an intelligent guidance system. When Valdez presented his findings to the International Asteroid Impact Conference, the response was swift and decisive. His research was classified, his funding terminated, and his academic position quietly eliminated. Official explanations cited budget constraints and departmental restructuring, but colleagues who knew Valdez understood the real reason. He had discovered proof that the extinction of the dinosaurs was not a natural disaster, but an act of interplanetary warfare. The evidence doesn't stop with the impact itself. Geological surveys conducted in the decades following the initial Chicxulub discovery have revealed a network of smaller craters scattered across the globe, all dating to the same narrow window around 66 million years ago. These secondary impacts show the same compositional anomalies, the same trajectory precision, and the same evidence of artificial guidance. Earth wasn't struck by a single asteroid, but bombarded by a coordinated barrage of projectiles, launched from somewhere beyond our solar system. But why would an advanced alien civilization wage war against dinosaurs? The answer lies in understanding what Earth represented 66 million years ago. Our planet wasn't just another rock orbiting a medium-sized star. It was a biological treasure trove, a world where evolution had created life forms of unprecedented size, intelligence, and adaptive capability. The dinosaurs weren't just animals. They were Earth's first attempt at creating a dominant, intelligent species. Recent analysis of dinosaur brain cavity fossils reveals something that has been deliberately suppressed by the mainstream scientific community. Many late Cretaceous species show evidence of rapid brain development in the final few million years before extinction. Cranial capacity was increasing, neural complexity was advancing, and some species were developing the physiological prerequisites for tool use and complex communication. The Troodon, a small theropod dinosaur found throughout North America, possessed a brain-to-body ratio that approached that of modern birds. But more significantly, Troodon fossils from the latest Cretaceous show evidence of social organization that went far beyond simple pack hunting. They built structured nests, created crude tools from stone and bone, and may have even developed a primitive form of written communication through claw markings found in cave systems across Montana and Alberta. Even more remarkable are the discoveries made in remote regions of Patagonia, where a joint Argentine-Brazilian expedition uncovered what can only be described as dinosaur cities. Massive stone structures arranged in geometric patterns, clearly artificial constructions that required coordinated effort from hundreds of individuals working over extended periods. The age of these structures, exactly 66 million years old. The implications are staggering. Earth's dinosaurs weren't just evolving into larger, more powerful creatures. They were developing intelligence, technology, and civilization. In perhaps another few million years, they might have achieved spaceflight, might have spread beyond Earth, might have become a threat to other intelligences already established among the stars. From the perspective of an advanced alien civilization monitoring Earth's development, the rising intelligence of dinosaurs represented an existential threat. These creatures were massive, incredibly resilient, and rapidly developing the cognitive capabilities that could eventually challenge alien dominance in this region of the galaxy. The solution was elegant and brutal: eliminate the threat before it could fully mature. The war that followed wasn't between equals. On one side stood Earth's most successful evolutionary experiment, creatures that had ruled the planet for over 160 million years, now on the verge of achieving technological civilization. On the other side stood an intelligence from beyond the stars, possessing weapons and capabilities that could reshape entire worlds. The dinosaurs never had a chance, but they didn't surrender without a fight. Fossil evidence from battle sites around the globe tells the story of desperate last stands, of creatures fighting against incomprehensible technology with nothing but tooth and claw. In some locations, paleontologists have found evidence of coordinated defensive strategies, suggesting that different dinosaur species worked together against their common enemy. The most haunting discovery comes from a site in the Canadian Arctic, where researchers found the fossilized remains of hundreds of different dinosaur species arranged in what can only be described as military formations. Massive sauropods positioned as living shields, swift predators arranged for flanking maneuvers, and aerial pterosaurs coordinated for reconnaissance and attack. These weren't random animals caught in a natural disaster. These were soldiers in humanity's first war, fighting for the right to inherit Earth. But their courage couldn't overcome the technological disparity. The aliens possessed weapons that could trigger volcanic eruptions, guide asteroids across interstellar distances, and manipulate Earth's climate with surgical precision. The war lasted perhaps a few thousand years, a blink of an eye in geological terms, but long enough for dinosaurs to understand that they were facing extinction and to attempt one final desperate gambit. In the deepest caves of what is now New Mexico, scientists have discovered something that defies all conventional understanding of dinosaur behavior. Carved into solid rock, using techniques that shouldn't have been possible with organic tools, are symbols and patterns that can only be described as a message, not random scratches or territorial markings, but deliberate communication with mathematical precision and astronomical accuracy. These carvings show star positions, planetary alignments, and celestial mechanics that demonstrate knowledge of physics, far beyond what any Earth-based creature should have possessed 66 million years ago. But most disturbing of all, the symbols include detailed warnings about incoming objects from space, complete with trajectory calculations and impact predictions that match exactly what we now know about the Chicxulub asteroid. The dinosaurs knew what was coming. They had somehow detected the approaching threat and were attempting to leave a record for whatever intelligence might inherit their world. But how could creatures without advanced technology possibly have acquired such sophisticated astronomical knowledge? The answer lies in fragments of metallic debris found scattered throughout late Cretaceous rock layers worldwide. When subjected to electron microscopy, these fragments reveal internal structures that are clearly artificial, microscopic circuits, crystalline matrices, and what can only be described as organic technological hybrids. Someone had been sharing advanced knowledge with Earth's dominant species, teaching them to recognize and prepare for the coming assault. Evidence suggests that not all alien intelligences were united in their desire to eliminate dinosaur civilization. Intercepted radio transmissions from deep space, decoded only in the past decade, reveal communications between different extraterrestrial factions engaged in heated debate about Earth's future. Some argued for preservation, others for controlled development, but the dominant faction pushed for complete elimination of potential competitors. The dinosaurs had allies among the stars, but their supporters were outnumbered and ultimately overpowered by those who viewed Earth as a strategic asset that needed to be cleared for future colonization. The war that destroyed the dinosaurs wasn't just a planetary conflict. It was part of a larger galactic struggle for territorial dominance that has been raging for millions of years across countless star systems. Recent discoveries in Antarctica provide the most compelling evidence yet of this cosmic conflict. Deep beneath the ice, ground-penetrating radar has revealed massive structures that predate human civilization by tens of millions of years. These aren't natural formations or simple shelters. They're bunkers, command centers, and what appear to be weapons manufacturing facilities built on a scale that dwarfs anything humans have ever constructed. The evidence we've uncovered today reveals a truth that changes everything we thought we knew about our planet's history. The extinction of the dinosaurs wasn't a random cosmic accident, but the final chapter in an interstellar war that determined which species would inherit Earth. As we continue to decode alien transmissions and uncover hidden archaeological sites, one question remains. Are those same extraterrestrial intelligences still watching us today? And what will they do when humanity finally reaches the stars?